Hey everybody, we just had Shawn Loglisci on, who is just an amazing human being, a guy that was drafted by the Dodgers, now has 3 amazing kids, plus twins, both with autism. Just a wonderful guy. We had a great chat. Really hope you enjoy the show. Okay, well, great to see you.
Yeah,
awesome.
Great to be here.
I wanted to start all these podcasts off the same way because I think for me, fatherhood started the moment, like real fatherhood started, the moment that Michelle showed me the pregnancy test. And I was like, oh, okay, that's when it's like, wow, officially real. Can you walk me through when your wife was like, hey, it's go time?
Oh, man, that is a great question and a great story. So I was with my sister and her soon-to-be husband and a couple friends, and it was awesome. We're up in Parksville, and we got a weekend, and like we're young, and we got all this beautiful food, and we're set up for 3 days, and my soon-to-be brother-in-law's like, hey, let's bring a couple pony kegs. This is gonna be great, like sure, okay, whatever you want to do, like yeah. We're having a good time, and it's like night 1, and we're having some drinks, and we're playing some games, and the phones are off, and it's super like analog and having a blast. And this is back when my wife would drink alcohol, and we're having a good time, and we're up late, and everyone's having a great time. And we wake up in the morning, and Steph's like, hey, I really don't feel good. Something's going on, and I want you to get a pregnancy test. So I'm like, for real?
Yeah, like haha.
Like
really?
yeah, like so hungover, not even in my own little village, right?
Just changing the buckets somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, whatever. Let's go do that. So we go do that, and I go and grab a couple pregnancy tests, and I don't know what I'm doing. I've never bought a pregnancy test, so I grabbed a couple.
Did you judge it by color? The purple one looks like it works.
So I went to the pharmacy, and I was like, do I need how precise are these things? And they're like, oh, they're pretty good. Maybe you get 2. And I was like, okay, I'll get 2. So, for real, she did that thing and, whatever, peed on it and all that stuff. And then we found out we're pregnant, and it was like the party just stopped, and there was probably like 125 beers still in that keg. And I'll never forget, like, everyone was super upset. It just all went stale, and oh my God, it was just like, boom, right then and there. Not to say that, like, couldn't have any more fun or anything, but your whole perspective changes and your whole thought, and I mean, we were trying to, it was planned for sure, but I'll never forget it for sure. And then, we went for like a nice, beautiful walk. The tide goes out in Parksville, and we're walking on the beach, and brother-in-law's like cracking one around noon, and he's like, yeah, come on, do you want one? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna hang out with the wife, have a nice little beautiful walk here. And he's kind of like scratching his head, and then like my sister's like, is everything cool? I'm like, yeah, everything's cool. And Steph was like a little bit quiet, and like, we didn't really want to talk about it too much, but I guess where I'm going is my poker face is like, everybody knew. And it was a beautiful moment. I'll never forget it. But the pregnancy test, right then and there. And then,
I feel like that moment for me was like in life, I haven't had too many like really delineations in time where you're like, oh, there was my life before this moment and the life after this moment. I felt them more recently as you get older, I think. Maybe like the day you leave high school is a big one, or the day you get married is big. My dad passing was a big one. I know that'll always be marks. But I think for me, because I just wanted to be a dad so bad, like that's all I talked about. And I wasn't a dad till I was 39. But I remember that moment being like the first time like my life stopped. It's like, whew. I was like, wow. And then the first thing I was like, oh man, I was like, it's all happening to you. Nothing's happening to me. Like physically, I was like, well, that's kind of weird. I just felt odd.
Yeah.
And then I was hit by like this wall of, oh my gosh, everything that I thought I was going to feel in this moment, I'm getting the exact opposite. I thought I was going to be excited and like ready to go and like charged up and like emotionally on this big high. And I just was like, oh, I just realized I didn't know anything. Yeah. And I was all of a sudden, I was like kind of insecure. I felt kind of dumb that I'd bragged for all these years I was going to be this great dad. And then I was like, I don't even know the first thing. Like I know concepts. Like, I know that my dad was a nice guy. He didn't like, push me down the stair. Like, I know that there's things that are inherently in you.
Yeah, sure.
But like the specifics, I was like, where do I even start? I found that part was a really interesting way to start the journey from like a zero or almost like a negative, right?
Yeah.
Where do I even start to get up the confidence and the courage to actually do this dad thing?
Totally.
Bizarre.
Yeah. So I can relate to that a bit too. I had a beautiful childhood. My dad, I saw him today. We were just playing catch the football like a couple hours ago, and he's going through some stuff, and we're just talking, and my daughter's, hanging out at the playground, and that's kind of how we converse. That's like our safe place, and we can just kind of call a spade and tell it how it is, no judgment. And it's always been like that. He's unreal. He's like, he's still my best friend to this day. And so, I mean, he was awesome. He was really, really, just present and around, and wanted to do really cool shit with me all the time, and was like, hey, let's try this out and let's do this. And, as the second born too. And like, as a dad, I get that, you know what I mean? Like at first I was always like, I want to play hockey, Dad. And he's like, well, you're going to play baseball instead. You know what I mean? Like, sure. your sister can have the $5,000 figure skates. Yeah. But,
we're going ball and stick.
Yeah. We're going to go kick the soccer ball around because that costs $17. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. And like, I was always kind of like, I don't know if I had resentment, but I was always like, man, what's that about? And now I get it. The first one is just like, whoa, turns your whole world upside down for sure. And back to you saying a little bit like, you think you're prepared. Like, I knew I wanted to be a father, and we were trying. And when I found out, for me, it was like, I feel like it was like a 1, 2, 3 combo punch of all this like responsibility. I was like, wow. You start thinking like numbers, like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, because my body's not changing. Our bodies aren't changing. We're not keeping this thing alive and healthy and stuff like that, but we're starting to think like, hey, okay, well, cut down on the booze and cut down on all this stuff, like, hey, let's paint the room, let's get the nursery going, and I don't know, like financial security, and again, I started when we had Sloan when we were 35. I was 35, so like we were doing pretty good, pretty comfortable, but I kind of had like more of those thoughts.
It is like someone passes you like a humongous to-do list manual.
Right.
But it's like scattered. You're like, okay, I know, I got to paint a room, I guess. And there's no checklist of like, I would just wish someone gave me like a dad checklist.
Yeah.
Okay, here's stuff that you really need. Here's all the stuff that you really don't, which is like just about everything, right? Like I always joke that you need, keep the baby warm, keep it fed. It basically just needs its mom for like the first 2 years, right? As a dad, you try to fill this time where you're not doing anything. Mm-hmm. Like, because everyone's like, we'll ask you, how's the baby? How's your wife? How's everything else? But no one really asks how you're doing or what you're up to. And you're just trying to fill this time of like preparedness. And usually you wait for the mom to tell you what it is, right? Because I think I boil it down to the same joke I tell every single time is, if I had a watermelon coming out of my penis, I'm sure I would talk to every dad I ever knew that had a baby. I was like, what's the watermelon thing like? How does it work? What do I have to prepare for, right? But we don't. And so I think women just naturally, because they have they've gone through the experience, or another mom has, they have like the real knowledge, understanding of the intensity of it. Mm-hmm. So we just kind of go into like this checklist mode of, hey, these are things I need to do. But I think the most important part for me, you can let me know what it was for you, but for me, I always think that it's our job to feed the baby energy. So instead of like what's my task or my job, I'm like, what do I really do for the baby? I think of it as energy. Am I keeping the energy in the house positive? Or the conversation I'm having with my wife, are we talking? Are we doing the things that we can do to make it a positive environment? Because I think if there's anything, because the baby's not having a chit chat with you. You're not like, hey, tell me how the last couple months have been. How's it been a baby? It just looks at you. Yeah. So right. I think, when you feed it energy, you give it the good energy, that's when you can tell you're doing something right.
Totally. Yeah. I love that. Right when, baby's born, and it's like our turn to hold baby. I was just like, okay, similar thing, like, hey, let's keep these vibes positive. Like, love is just oozing everywhere in the house, right? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful moment. Getting baby Sloanie for us to settle in and be like part of this world and comfortable and stuff like that. So like we tried everything, you know, and I remember like holding her and dancing with her, and then she was fussy, right? She was real fussy. And I remember like the only time she would stop crying was like we would pump John Mayer and I'd hold her.
That was the ticket?
Oh man, John Mayer was the ticket. And like I listened to it till my ears bled.
Sure.
For real, because it
still
worked,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And like it was cool. Cause like, we're it's our first time. Yeah, we're figuring it out. We have no idea what we're doing, and you're sleep deprived, and so I just remember like, hey, I got this. Put it on, pump the tunes, and John Mayer goes on, and I'm just dancing to her, and she kind of settled down, and then like, but it was like clockwork. Boom! As soon as that song stopped, it was like, it was crazy. But
you come from you're a baseball player.
Yeah.
Like you drafted by the Dodgers. You coached lots of stuff. Did you? And baseball means basically routine life, right? It's like your warm-up routine, your batting routine. It's all routine based. Yeah. Did you find what was there one big takeaway that you went from like, oh man, baseball and this skill set really applies to parenting, or can you look at it that way?
I love that question. Yeah. So being involved with the game, you definitely, it starts personally, how you eat, how you treat your body, how you sleep, all of that stuff. So I felt like pretty comfortable about that and really confident with that and those tools. Yeah, relating to life and becoming a dad for sure. My wife is huge on, schedules and how it's going to be and consistency and stuff like that. And you kind of just do your best to support them. So I kind of feel like I fell right into that really well and adapted. A little bit of a chameleon too, I'm a bit of a people pleaser, I feel like too, so that always helped.
It's a nice skill set, I think, for a dad because your wife is definitely on the side of needing more than you, right? They just took a human out of their body, like they need that love and attention, and it's tricky. I remember making a post a while ago about how do you say that you need help when your wife has just gone through that, right? Like, hey, because sometimes you need a nap, like when you're just another human being, right? So I would always suggest that you just check in first before you ask what you need. Are you 100% good? Yeah. Anything you need whatsoever, you're 100% good, because I'm just gonna grab. I could really use a 30-minute nap. Yeah. And then okay, great. You got to set them up for success, and then you it's definitely them first. So being a empathetic guy, someone is very helpful in the beginning.
Yeah, I always make jokes now because like our kids are toddlers and my daughter's like a little girl now, but I always make jokes as like, wow, I feel like I went from like first class to second class citizen overnight.
Yeah, sure. Very much so, yeah.
I didn't tell anybody about it and nobody asked any questions, but I'm still here.
Yeah. In the background, like, do you mind if I hold the baby?
Yeah, right.
I remember that's so funny because family, friends, they know, right? There's this special, it doesn't happen all the time, right? It's not like you're having a baby once a week, like, thank goodness. But it is so special, and everyone knows it's so special. So everybody comes to dump their love on you, right? They want to support. And I remember, I can't remember who it was at the house. All the family was there, and someone said to me, and with love in their eyes, right? Anything we can do? And I was, deep down, I was like, leave the house? Yeah. I'm cooking brunch for 8 people. Like, can you guys, I got to do your dishes. I got to clean up. I got to make sure you're okay. Yeah. I got to coordinate. So it is tricky handling that love, because you also feel like you're in the back seat. You're watching this stuff happen and evolve in front of you. And you're like, how do I get in there?
Yeah. That's so real. That's something I remember too. Like I'm, Italian family background, right? Really close family. Everybody's involved. Everybody knows kind of each other's business. So yeah, we have our baby, and same thing. Like people are lined up to kiss the baby, meet the baby. Hey, how can we help? Here's some food. But for real, you're just like, leave us alone.
You know what? I had a friend of mine on his 3rd kid. It's like the smartest, because 3rd kids, you're just getting smarter and smarter. Yeah. He put a note on his front door, and it said, "Hey, we love you. Whatever you've got in your hands, you can leave it down on the step. Yeah. Leave a note or something. We'll get back to you."
Nice.
Because in my book, I wrote, this is how I would say, you want to control the dynamic in your house the best you can, right? It's your family now. It's not somebody else's family. This is your family forever, now and forever.
Yeah.
And the best thing is to put just boundaries. And boundaries are tough when people and they want to help. And for them, they look at it through their perspective, right? Oh, when I had a baby, it was hard. I did this stuff was hard, right? So I want to be there. I want to be the one that helps my daughter, helps my son out.
Yeah.
And the key is to say, hey, man, we would love to have you come over. Please come over. Can you come over at 10? That would be great. And if you could, if we could wrap it up by around noon, because that's when we're going to have our nap and we're going to have some lunch and some quiet time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you might take that the wrong way or a bit, but you have to stand there and be like, that's what we need. So otherwise, you don't spend time with your kids the first 2 weeks or the first month. It's just like everyone else is there. And then the only time you're getting baby is crying baby, and it's tricky.
Totally. So, yeah, I'm kind of talking a lot about our first baby because I got three. I got three kids. I got, the twin boys who are going to be 4 in September. And then I was talking about Sloan, my daughter, who just turned 6. And probably most likely just talking about that because it's such a massive change and it's the first time.
Yeah.
But, I'm thinking about this conversation and like, wow, having the twins, and the way they came to this world compared to Sloan was just like night and day. So like, Sloan was a natural birth, and we had no idea what we're doing. And the second time, you kind of think, okay, second and third with twins. Yeah. Kind of think like, we got this. We've been through this, you know, but way different. So like, there was complications with that pregnancy, and the boys came 2 months early, and we had to fly to Toronto for like twin-to-twin transfusions, where my wife was, meeting with surgeons, and one baby's basically getting too much nutrients, and the other one's suffering and not getting enough. And man, doctors these days are just incredible. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they go in there and, they got this laser like right on her. They're basically lasering off some of the veins there, right on Stephanie, right on the. I'm losing my mind here, but they're basically trying to even it all out, and it went really smoothly, but like so invasive for her, and like so scary. And I'm running around the cities with the city of Toronto with my daughter, who's like 2, not even 1.5, just trying to entertain her. She has no idea what's going on, and Stephanie's in a hospital all by herself. And then we go through that procedure and we get her done, and then we come back to Vic, and it's like 2 weeks and we think everything's okay, and then boom, like water breaks, and these boys are coming 2 months early, and then it's just like
full
throttle, and they're in the NICU, and it's like, nobody's coming to visit, nobody's allowed, COVID's happening.
Oh man, twins and COVID,
and you're balancing this other little tiny girl, and my wife's dying to see her, and she's pumping breast milk, and I'm riding my bicycle. Thank God we were close to the hospital. Riding my bicycle to riding my bike to the hospital and getting the milk to the boys, and then the nurses in the NICU, they're like superheroes. Those people.
Nurses. Greatest things on earth, yeah.
Oh my gosh, the NICU nurses though, it's like the all-star team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Back to the baseball reference, but it's like the best of the best get to walk through those doors. Like,
I have a humongous, I think that I look a lot at childbirth as like trauma. That's for men, right?
Real.
I'm probably for the women too, of course. But when you're sitting there and you're in like a trauma state of just like, that sort of deer in the headlights, not really sure where to go, and every decision you make feels like it's so important. Like, do I do this first or do I do that? Like, what happens if I make that mistake? Like, what if I forget the milk? Is that going to be and because we have no prior knowledge, no prior education, never read a baby book, you really like the depth of those feelings is pretty tough. And when you can be in that state and have the voice of this lovely nurse come by and be like, and just hand on your shoulder, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Want me to walk you through how to wash a baby? And you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Thanks. It's crazy. Yeah. Did you, when the boys came home, was there like, do you have a couple of, obviously there's lots of perspective. They're autistic twins, which I'm sure is another layer on top of that. How did you manage the intensity of all that? What are any sort of tools or systems that you put in place to rock the twin life? Or are you still figuring it out again?
Yeah, so you took the answer out of my mouth there. So, the boys are going to be 4, and they were diagnosed when they're about 2.5 with autism. And, I feel like we're still figuring it out for sure. yeah, having a neurotypical kid is like one thing. And then, yeah, the autistic brain, like me and my wife flip each other's stuff all the time because we're just still trying to learn and understand. And, yeah, there's just so many things. I don't even know where to start. Even last night, like now we have twin boys who are autistic. And like, the first thing I think of is like, these kids get a little more attention because they need it. We're trying to figure it out. They have a hard time. They get overwhelmed with like noises or people or whatever it is. And then, there's my beautiful little daughter who's just kind of sitting there, whatever, hanging out. And she's like, yesterday she just started crying, and she's like, the boys go to sleep half hour before she does. And she's like, I feel left out. And I'm like, ugh. Man. Right when you feel like you're kind of doing it, you're like, oh man, of course you do. Like, how could you not? Yeah. And I'm just like, in my mind, I didn't tell my little girl this. I'm like, how do you feel left out? You get everything. You know what I mean? Like, you got 10 pairs of Nikes, you got all this stuff, you get everything first, but at the same time, she just wants attention. Yeah. You know what I mean? She just wants you to be present. She just wants to, Yeah.
I think there's something about that. There's something about the kids in present. They're not spending a ton of time thinking in the past. They're not really thinking that much about the future. Kids are really present based, which I think is what I really feel that's adds that layer of impact on, again, your thoughts, your feelings, right? Where they'll be like, you never play with me. And you're like, what? We spent all day at the park yesterday. But in the moment, maybe you've been working on a laptop for 2 minutes or you're cooking dinner and they just start to feel, oh, yeah, my life isn't what I want it to be. And it puts that such an impact on that stuff. Because I know that parenting, it's just like a daily challenge every day. Yeah. There isn't just like you might have a day or two where you're like, wow, that was a smooth day. That was great. It felt great. It was easy. Everyone ate food. Nobody complained. Yeah. Oh my God. And but a lot of times you just have to remind yourself that it's another day. It's another day of the process, and the gift of children comes with the blessings and the curses and the.
So I love what you just said. What is it about being a parent? Because I know my wife loves this topic too, but like watching your child eat, oh, I love that.
Oh, I know, it's the best feeling.
I love that. I just love it so much.
I think it is the Italian in you.
I don't know, but I'm just like,
I know it's the best.
Oh, just keep going.
Nourishing.
Just keep going. Yeah,
there's two things in life that I never get bored of and always make me feel like I've won parenting. The first one is when your child can read to you. Oh, you're like, cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, now they can learn anything they want. So if I get hit by a truck tomorrow, at least they can keep learning. They can self-develop themselves. And the second one was swimming. As soon as you swim, I feel like if you fall down in a lake or you need to go somewhere, I don't have to worry about you instantly dying. Yeah. Because, I can, and eating for sure. And it's so funny because I had, when I owned the restaurant, Weston would get, he grew up on charcuterie and like small plates and fancy tunas and stuff and all these delicious foods, and he'll eat anything. Like he just is a nonstop consumer of food.
Good boy.
And he's like, oh, I love spice. Yeah. And he talks like a chef, even though he's never been, he just like, oh, Dad, that was really that really intense flavor on the back. I'm like, where'd that come from? Yeah. And Addison just wants sugar. That's all she wants. Oh yeah. And I'm like, hun, nope. Don't put it. Yeah. If you put a drizzle of something on it, or if it's got a sparkle, she'll eat it. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah. So I mean, like Tate, my one boy, he's such a good eater. Rivy is super picky. Sloan's super picky. But I don't know. Whatever it is, whenever they're eating, it's just a beautiful thing. I absolutely love that. Yeah.
I know that you have I don't know if it's like a guy's dad hangout.
Yeah.
Is that one of the things you really like? I think that's just really important about like staying true to yourself when you become a dad. It's very easy just to become, to put all your hobbies off to the side, all the things that you love. Like I don't deserve to do that. My kids need time, or my wife is stressed. I'll play baseball later, or I'll go golf later.
Totally.
What do you think is so important about that part of the male bonding, hanging out, that is crucial to being a good dad?
I think it's this right here. Is just being able to shoot and talk about it. And then, sometimes like we talked about those great days where like, oh, that was a good day. But like, we rarely talk about the hard ones. And every now and then I would just like, I go to these social gatherings, with the Aloof Club or whatever we call it. And it's great. Whatever it is, we do cool stuff. We'll play horseshoes and we just get together. But real conversations happen there, you know, and it's just like, your kid's not eating, right? Does your kid struggle eating? It's like, is that normal? You know what I mean? Like we can kind of just, like, does your daughter tell your wife that she hates her? You know? Like
you rip some of the scabs off and get in there.
Yeah, you know, like, that's normal. Yeah, that's all happening at my house too. And you're like, oh, okay, like that just knowing that and hearing it, and you know it's most likely real and normal, or whatever normal is these days, but just knowing that it's happening in other homes, and it's like, you know, you're like, oh, that's a relief. You know what I mean?
There's something I just love talking about being a dad.
Yeah.
And it's so rare. Like, guys don't grow up saying, hey, let's go talk about babies.
Totally.
No, it's like, let's go talk about girls.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But what I think is so magical is if you love being a dad, and it's not, being a dad is not for everybody. Just because you can make a baby doesn't mean that you're meant to be a dad or meant to be a father.
Yeah.
But if you love it, it's one of the things that I can't think of anything else that you love so much that you talk so little about.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think any chance I get to like just talk dad life, just to be like, oh, like what's it like? You know? Or like, what are you doing? Like, how's it going? You know, what stage are you at? Like, what are the things? And I can feel it now as the kids are getting older that it's even more important. You know, it feels very important in the baby, like the first year, where you're like, okay, are they eating enough? Are they turning green? Like, what are all the things, you know, to keep an eye out for? But as they get older, I can just feel the more intensity of the importance of conversation.
Oh, yeah. I feel like dads really get a shine, you know, around age 2, right? Because it's like, the kids even want to know what we can do, you know, because they're so relying on their mom, and they're always with their mom. And now it's like, I'm Mr. Playful. I try to be super playful with my kids, and I love that. And, you know, with the autistic twins, we, you know, we're fortunate to have a few resources to help them, you know, 1, develop language, and 2, just support our family a little bit, and, you know, give my wife a break or whatever, and myself. And, you know, like, we have this beautiful woman. She's like the head of our daycare. She comes in, we'll call her Amber. She comes in and she gives us a hand and gives my wife a break or whatever. And, you know, me and my wife will be maybe we'll be at it a bit. And she's like, well, you go take a break. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess so. So I'll go play golf or whatever. And she's like, and then we'll come back together, and it's like, oh, how'd it go? And she's like, yeah, it was good. We did this and we did that. How's your golf game? I'm like, you know, it was terrible. I wanted to be with my kids the whole time. It's crazy.
It is. I think those are the honest things that people don't talk about. Like, only a small child that you love that much would you want to, like, can you get so crazy riled up that you want to throw them in the gorge? You know, and not like as a joke, right? I'd love to just toss you in the ocean.
Sure.
But there's like a you get to the tip of the razor's edge to, like, legitimately those thoughts go through your head when the baby's been screaming for 3 hours and you're starving because you forgot to eat, and your wife is low on sugars and she's cranky in the other room, and you're just like, oh my God, is this for real? And then after that thought just about gets to the tip of the edge of the blade, then you like, oh, and you just go to the other room, and then 1 minute later you just like, oh man, it's like, I love this so much. There's nothing I want more. You're the most beautiful thing. It's crazy, the roller coaster of the of babies.
For real. So, like, that hits home, because it's like, it's so chaos, you know, people are crying, people are throwing food, your wife's in there, is making beautiful dinners, it's all over the ground, it's a mess, you know, and then you're like, okay, I'm picking one up, and she's like, no, pick him up, let him finish. It's just crazy. You know, and then you finally get him washed, and then you get him settled, and it's like 7:30 I was talking about, you know, and the moment of just quiet time or whatever, and my wife will be like, why don't you come over and we'll have a little talk and conversation. So we like have a little cuddle on the couch and just talk it, and like, we pull up the phone, and I still, I love pictures and that. So we start, what do? The kids are sleeping, we have moments to ourselves, we start looking at pictures of our kids.
It's because
crazy.
It's just
you just love these little things so much, you know what I mean? It's
the effort that you put in. You know? It's like a bucket that you just keep filling, even though you know there's holes in the bottom. You're like, I just got more, I'll put more in there. You know, and it's kids they are day-to-day livers, so they're not like, hey, Dad, I was thinking about the last 4 years. Wow, I really appreciate all the work you've been doing. And that's never going to come out of their mouths, you know. But all you get once in a while is a thank you, Dad, or love you, Dad. And you're just like, that's it. I'll keep filling that bucket. No sweat. That's all I needed, you know.
So I got a story for you. Okay, so fast forward to around like 5 or 6, right? With my little girl Sloan. And there was like this moment, and she's the first child. She gets all this nice stuff. We bought her beautiful things. My wife loves to shop. She loves clothes. So Sloan has this beautiful wardrobe and everything. And she's like, I don't want to wear this. I don't like it. I'm like, we just spent all this money on this just for you. You said you wanted this and we made it happen. We got it for you. She's like, I don't like it. I don't want to wear it. I'm like, okay.
I just love relating. I'm like, oh.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
This hits home to everybody, right? So whatever. Same thing. Deal with that. Get them down. And then you get that back to that 7:30. I call my own mother. And I had a memory of my own. And I'm like, Mom, remember when I was in grade 9 and you bought me this beautiful winter jacket and it was yellow and blue and it was like, I didn't want to wear it because I didn't think it was cool. I'm fucking sorry for being an asshole. Yeah. I'm sorry. And I know this came in 35 or 37.
Sorry, it's a little late down the road.
Sorry, it's 25 years late. But I get it now. Yeah. And I love you.
I hope that makes you feel better.
Sorry. Yeah. She just howled. Yeah. She hugged me. She's just like, that's what it's all about.
That's what it is. I remember telling my dad that we should have like a case of beer calendar or something every time I go, oh, Dad was right. I should just email you $20 or something. Like, yeah, you had that one pegged too, Dad. Yep, that was right as well. Yeah. There's it's lovely the retrospect that you get from your parents.
Isn't it? It's like a 180.
It's unfortunately annoying that you're like, yes, everything your parents tell you is true.
It's so true.
And as I say to my own kids, I just always try to remember that, and I really try to take that what I'm telling them and always give like a real gentle, clear explanation sometimes, the best I can, of why I'm bothering telling you this or why it's important or why my dad told it to me and that's why I'm telling it to you. So hopefully you can appreciate that like 60 years of thinking about this is coming to you now in this one little moment of like why this is important, like social graces, right? The waves and those things. I'm not just saying it for kicks. Well, trust me. Trust my dad, and you know that they won't for a while, but when they slowly can build that trust in you and get it, then it's great.
Yeah.
If you, I have another fun question for you.
Yeah.
I think one day you'll be a granddad. Let's hope for the best here. Mm-hmm. And they're gonna come back and look at this, maybe 20 years down the road. What is like some of the things that you will? What are some of the things that you know now that you just innately were good at as a dad?
Some of the things that I know now that naturally I was just good at?
Yeah.
Good question. So I think, I honestly think back to my childhood, and I think the biggest thing is just being present. And, like we were talking about the phone thing, and I love how you said you hate your phone, but like I'll look at my phone and I'll feel guilty when my kids are in the room. I'm like, man, I gotta put this thing around. Just get on the ground and play with them. You know what I mean? So I think I don't know. I always want to like challenge them. And another thing too is like, we talked about me being a baseball guy and, I loved it. I played and, forever. I still play. I'm playing tonight. Got a game tonight. But, you want them to enjoy things that you love, but at the same time, you don't want to force feed them. You want them to kind of flourish and blossom into everything. So I'm always like trying to, like, we're going to try soccer and we want to do swimming. Well, there's a couple of things like you talked about swimming. Swimming's a staple. You gotta have it. You can't be drowned. We live on Vancouver Island, surrounded by water. You know what I mean? I want to be able to turn my head and have a conversation and my kid not drown.
Yeah.
So that's got to happen. But like, gymnastics and like skating, I want my kid to have the opportunity to try it all. I mean, hopefully she's not into horses because I don't make that kind of money. But I mean, even if she was, I would find a way to make it work. Yeah. And I don't know if I answered your question there, but I think like naturally, I think another thing too, also, I think, I was lucky enough to have a really awesome dad. My wife wasn't. Yeah, you really understand how important it is, when you have a really good life too. And then my dad, he told me his drive was like, well, I'm going to be better than that. You know what I mean? And I tell my dad, I'm like, man, you did a hell of a job. So like, I got to be better than you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. Again,
it sounds like, I think it's, as I hear you talk, it's I think what you're innately great at and why it's hard to pin it down. And one of the reasons I want to talk to you is because you can just tell that you love being a dad.
Oh, I do.
And I think there's not a quantitative way you can, say, oh, like nobody will ever come to your house and say, hey, here's a gold medal for being like the number one dad.
Yeah.
Because what do you grade that on? You know, and I think you just grade that on your commitment to being a dad. And I just know that I've seen you with your daughter, right? I've seen you with the kid. Like you just love them. You can tell. And I think that's the quintessential way to say, I was lucky enough to be innately great at being a dad. You know, it's in me from the beginning. It's in every dad. Like it's there for you. And if you can access it and just go, okay, well, there's going to be tons of hardship with it. And there's going to be tons of great stuff. I'm going to roll through the hard stuff, and I'm just going to make sure that when the great stuff is here or when I have a chance to impact and do the great thing, I'm going to do it. Yeah. You know, I'm going to take you to the lessons even if I'm tired, right?
Oh, yeah, for real.
We're going to play even though I'm exhausted. You know, I think those are, because I remember like when you think about the special moments, it's when your dad said, hey, go ahead, we can stay up late tonight. Yeah. And you're like, because he just found that little extra gear somewhere to give you a bit extra energy. You know? Yeah. We always try to remember how to make things special. Yeah. It doesn't take $1,000 and going to Disneyland. It just takes like, hey, like it's late in time, you're in your pajamas, you're just about ready to go to bed, and then you say, "Want to go just chuck 10 throws?" Yeah. It's free. It takes you 20 minutes. Not 10 minutes, and it's the heaven.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I think like I remember things like doing stuff with my dad and my parents and stuff like that when I was a kid, like fishing and crabbing and stuff like that, and it was great and great memories of that. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely doing that with my kids, you know, fantastic. But then you think back again as a dad, as a parent, and then you think like, man, I remember this time we were crabbing in a little tin boat and like there was a gnarly storm and like things got hairy really quick. And like my dad just called the shots like, hey, we're just getting the hell out of here and we're going home. And like I have that conversation with my dad now. I'm like, man, what were you thinking? Like, like let's talk about that. And he's just like, it was nuts. Yeah, like, sure. And he's just poker face. Like, we got this. We're gonna get through this. You know, like where maybe mom would be like, we gotta get out of here. Shit. But dad's just like, that's good. We're just gonna get the boat in, and it's like rocking, and like it's raining, and hey, son, grab that and bail out that water, you know. And I'm like, yeah, this is fine. This is cool.
I'm having a great time, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Addison and I by Westphalia broke down on the top of the Malahat in the middle of a rainstorm. Right. And she thought it was the best. She had the best time, the tow truck. And we had to go to the fancy restaurant was on the hill because it was the only place nearby to wait. Yeah. So we're soaked, having a fancy tea and grilled cheese sandwich. She's like, thanks, Dad. She's like 3 years old, right? It's the best. So I think you never know what's coming as a dad. Right. And I know that I would love 5 more hours to hang and chat with you. So even though we're done with podcast, I can't wait to talk more, Dad.
Oh, man.
That's it, buddy.
That's it. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So fun.
Love you, pal.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Cool.